Um, and it was that when I woke up in the morning, I woke up around maybe about 8:15, the latest maybe 8:30, and I smoke cigarettes, so I went outside to the balcony to smoke a cigarette because we don't smoke in the apartment, and I seen five people outside in the backyard area of the
Okay.
house.
Can you describe? Okay, I've heard that part of that story.
Yes,
Can you?
yes.
And I know you're not going
I
to say if you know who they are or any of that, but can you describe what male, female, black, white, Asian, any of that kind of thing?
Yeah, so there was there was three males and two females. One of the males was like very pale and had light colored hair. There was um a black male. There was
Okay.
another guy that I had never really even seen before, that was kind of just like had his hoodie up. I believe I seen Dylan out
What
there
color was
because
the hoodie?
What color was the hoodie? Yeah.
I want
Was
to
he
say
older?
like navy blue, like
Oh.
maybe
A
like
dark.
probably, yeah, a dark blue. I
How
barely
many
could.
feet approximately do you think you were away from the group?
I want to say probably less than 35 feet.
Less than 35.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty close, actually. 35 feet. That's pretty
The
close.
apartments that I was at, there was a balcony, and if you go to the right of the balcony, the
Mhm.
house is literally like next to my shoulder on the right hand side. So it's like
Oh, there's the
Oh,
apartments.
that house.
it's
Straight back.
literally there, and we had a lot of people
Oh, I gotcha.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, we were partying just like an average night. We had a lot of people in the apartment. We partied all the time. There was always ruckus that was going on through the neighborhood. For the most part, I never really seen or heard anything that was really strange up until like about 3 a.m. But in the morning, I remember seeing Dylan because I know Dylan. She's taller, so I can kind of pick her out. And I know Emma was there, and Emma's friend, and there was a guy that was also like I said, really pale. I wasn't sure who he was, with light colored hair, and there was another guy that had a hoodie on that I couldn't identify, but they were all just literally passing a joint around.
She knew Dylan and and considered her a friend, and she'd known her for 2 years. 2 years. So I think that takes a little bit more of a aha. You do know what you're talking about. So I remember that interview. I remember listening to her, and she was on Dago's page. She called in, and there was a whole panel of them up there, and they were asking her questions about that day. And what stuck out for me, because I was in the car when I was listening to this, and what stuck out to me was when she was saying that at 8:30 that morning, she went out on the balcony and was smoking. And what I did was I wrote down, before, when I was re-listening to that interview last night, I wrote down that Dot seen 5 people, including Dylan, and they were all smoking a joint before she said anything. And that is exactly what she said, because it rang in my head. I know that this girl said they were smoking a joint, and they were, according to her. So she said she's seen 5 people, one being Dylan, and another blonde girl, who she said was not Bethany. It was Emily. Emily and Dylan, and then 3 more guys. And she didn't know for sure who the guys were, but one of the guys was African American. But what was weird about this interview was when she was watching all of these kids, Dylan and Emily and these other 3 guys, they were just smoking a joint and just passing it around, and acting like it was an everyday, every other Sunday morning, this is what they did. She said it was a normal thing that they did, a regular thing that they did every morning at this time. Apparently, she hung out at this apartment all the time and would go there and party all the time. She was in college with Dylan at this time. So she would go there all the time. And it's those brown apartments that butt up against behind their house. And so when she's out there, right to her right, she can see where that couch was. She could see the sliding glass door, the whole bed. And the things that she remembers are just, you guys, this interview happened 3 years ago, almost. Maybe 2 years ago, 2 years and 8 months, but almost 3 years ago. She said that Bethany was not around and did not arrive until 11 a.m. That's when she arrived. What time did the 911 call come in? 11:58. Makes sense. Makes sense. The Snapchat reports she talks about hearing the reports on Snapchat. But guess what the Snapchat's reports were? They were somebody had OD'd, or several people had OD'd in that house. And I remember that. I remember talking about it when I was in my car and saying how we weren't sure what happened in that house. If it was a drug overdose or if it was an actual intruder. And then she said that they asked her, what time did you go to sleep? This is something that's bothering me, is that it seems like everybody from the neighbors to this Dot girl, every one of them says that they were in bed and asleep by 3:30. Why is that? Why is that? So like I was just saying, there's a lot of neighbors and a lot of witnesses that we've heard testimony from, and they've all claimed that they were in bed and asleep by around between 3 and 3:30, and I find that so weird that every one of them is in bed and asleep by 3:30. That's so weird to me. There's no variation with time. I don't get that. But what I wanted to also bring up is that she talked about the wounds on the kids that lost their lives. And one of the guys said, well, how do you know that? Because this is early on, guys. Remember, this was way when it first happened. And she said, Dylan told me. Now, why would we not believe her? She says she was friends with Dylan for 2 years. I really have a tendency to believe her at this point, because what have we been shown? We've been shown the autopsies and shown their wounds. We've been told about their wounds. We've been told about it. And what does it fit? It fits Dot's statement. It fits it to a T. And also, guys, she's been interviewed since recently. Her story has never changed. You know, when stories change, that means you're lying or you're making something up. That's what that means. Dot has never changed her story. She's never, ever wavered. Her story stays the same. She also says that before she went to sleep, between 3 and 3:30, she heard somebody whistling, like for Murphy. She thought that Murphy had gotten out and somebody was trying to find him. That's very common theme that what we've been hearing. She also said that she went to the police, believe it or not. She went to the police And the woman, the receptionist, gave her a piece of paper. She filled out the information that she knew about this crime, all this stuff that she's seen. And do you think that Moscow got back to her? Checked in with her, gave her a phone call, asked her to come down to the station, give a full report. Think they did that? And my guess is it's because it would have fucked up their timeline. They can't hear from her. They can't put anything down that she says because it fucks with the timeline that they created. Fucks with their narrative that they created. So, you guys have a wonderful weekend.